wall. So I didn't really like the default backhand template piece that I printed out, so I cut out this weird little spiky piece that's going to go on the back of the palm, and that's going to go on top of the part of the default knuckle piece. And so yeah, pretty much just cut out a shape like that if you follow my design, and then you're going to rivet it together as shown here. So once again, I'm going to explain the process for riveting later in this video, but yeah, it'll eventually just look like that. I'm going to do the process to the backhand that I just talked about. And once again, apply the same principle to the knuckle pieces, and instead of covering the whole glove in glue this time, you're actually going to only cover the knuckles of the leather part. Now wait for that first coat to dry, and then apply the second coat. Now here's where all the stuff you learned in geometry comes in handy. What you have to do is you basically follow the construction of this dragon scale part and draw approximate holes here. You're going to trace this onto leather basically a bunch of times. So basically the first thing you do is you align your rivet into your material like so, and then you're going to press it through the first layer of your material for leather until you can see the two prongs on the other side. Then you do the same thing with the next layer of material like as shown, and then you do it with the last layer of material. This is in the final stages of the gauntlet, but I'm going to show you how to do this now because it's a useful thing. And then you're basically going to take your finger and you're going to bend over one of the prongs so it holds this leather sandwich in place. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Just bend it with your finger. And you could bend the other prong, but it's going to leave your fingers pretty sore. And this is actually where you need your grabby tool, wherever it is. Because you see how there's that little prong there sticking out? You have to get that down with the grabby tool. So I'm going to grab your grabby tool right there. It's weird, I know. And then you're going to align it with one part of the rivet and then on the prong, and then you're just basically going to squeeze it in place. Like, yeah, and that's how you rivet basically. So now I'm going to basically go over how to do the dragon scale portion of it. It's pretty straightforward once you learn how to do the proper riveting and stuff. It's actually a really neat Instructables tutorial that I'll have a link for in the description. It actually goes over this really well, so I suggest you follow this tutorial as well. I mean, I did it differently, but this is a really good way to do it.
Here's basically what a strand of these look like. Okay, so I've been at this for like 2 hours, maybe more. I don't know how many of these things I've cut out / pieced together. At this point, I'm too afraid to ask. It kind of goes on your hand, maybe, somehow. Yeah. Cut it out so that it basically is as much as your arm. I have like 60 more of these to do, so yeah, this is kind of what it looks like. Here's the original layer. I just put one more on top, and one more on top, and one more on top, one more on top, gradually getting smaller. If you weren't lazy, you'd print out a design, or you could just do that and carefully trace it like I'm going to do. I don't recommend it, but it works. Trace out your design and cut around it. You'll see why in a second. So now you're actually going to rivet some of the scales onto like the glove part itself, this like felt kind of thing. You can't really see it too well because it's elastic, but you know, that'll connect over like that eventually. And then we'll take, you know, our dragon design. It'll be on there like that, in the form of that. So you're going to cut out your shape from this, and then you can, you know, discard this. I'm going to hang it up on my wall because it's a pretty cool shape. But you're going to basically be using that for the gauntlet. Then trace that out onto a piece of this like curtain fabric thing that I had lying around because my mom sews. Then you're going to cut out a shape similar to this but slightly smaller onto this, and this will lay on top of that. Better sew that sucker in. Next, I did one rivet here connecting these two pieces to one of the scales, one on the center of the gauntlet to the head of the dragon. Start to do a bunch of support riveting. I can't really explain it any further past here, just I wish I could give you a better idea on how to do that, but it's really, really difficult. Like, you just kind of got to use your judgment. see where you should do place